Hello, everybody. Once more, we are here. It means it's Tuesday. It's Wednesday, not Tuesday.
Mm.
It is Wednesday, 31st of January. 1 month of the year already gone. And thank God we are here every Wednesday sharing our thoughts with you all and trying to reach out all the four corners of this world. So today topic it is word and peace. Word and peace. Looks like the world is upside down and we need peace. Not just in the war zones, but within ourselves. And as you know, Charles and Silva are here to enrich this conversation. So, good evening, Miss Gibbons. How are you, my dear?
I am very well, thank you, and hope everyone is well too. Going through winter now, and I know that a lot of people are in a very heat, a lot of warm, and everything is fine. And I'm glad that we are here today with another topic to talk to people and to discuss many items in spirituality and the difficulties that we are going through now, all of us. So, if anyone like to ask questions, to share the conversation, that would be nice, because all of us at this moment are affected by what's happening in our world. We can't avoid that. So, boa tarde a todos que estão nos ouvindo. Prazer em ver a todos e espero que estejam todos bem. Se nós estamos aqui mais uma vez para esse tópico que nós vamos conversar. E se vocês querem participar, seria bem interessante eu perguntar alguma coisa. Muito bom. Então, que tudo dê certo e que Jesus nos abençoe a todos. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Bonsoir, Charles.
Bonsoir, Steven. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Very happy to be here with you today again, tonight, because the subject is quite interesting. World and peace. Our world needs dramatically peace nowadays, and I think the conscience are awaking, getting awake. And okay, let's do now what is necessary to stop with all these conflicts, all these wars, and make our world a peaceful world.
Good. Good. So, as I said in my introduction, you just turn on our TV or turn on the radio, open a newspaper, open the magazines, or today it's just open the app, the news app in your phone. We always see bad news. A war, someone kills somebody, um, corruption, and all threatening, everyone threatening the peace. But which peace? Uh, even though we have all these problems around the world, you may have your moment of peace, perhaps in your home, with your family, or alone if you live alone. But you do have your moment of peace, in which is very quiet, in which you can do your prayers or whatever. You can do your prayers or whatever you want to do. So, in the middle of all these upside down episodes, you do have peace. So it means the peace it is a achievement of ourselves because we can build the peace within us even though we are in the middle of the chaos. Okay, that's my little introduction. So Charles, what Kardec gonna say if he was reincarnated, seeing all these things? What's what, what do you think he gonna say?
I mean, he has done more than saying, he has written, isn't it?
Okay.
And this subject of peace, he has really addressed it in several parts of the Spiritist body of knowledge, starting with the Spirit's book. The Spirit's book, the book third, is entitled The Moral Laws. Okay. And the moral laws, as we commented it already several times, are the natural laws, the law of nature. What is good is all what is in harmony with laws of nature. What is evil is all what is not in harmony with the laws of nature or the laws of God, which is the same, because God has created everything, including the nature, including the laws of nature. Okay. And in this book third, which is really amazing, of the Spirit's book, there is one section called Law of Destruction. So Kardec is commenting that there is let's say, natural destruction. All what is living basically is dying and then born again. So the law of destruction is a natural law. When we get older, like me, already in the club of the six, double digits starting with six, but we are feeling some, how to say, wear and more tired and whatever. And okay, everything is like this in nature, recycling. You have the seasons, you have lives and dying, and then our physical body goes back to the earth, the leaves of the trees or the plants, which are then regenerating and helping to make new plants and new trees and so on. And for the human, it's a law of reincarnation, which is explaining somehow this natural destruction. So the destruction is needed in order to regenerate, to redo, to improve, to evolve, to progress, and so on. So this is what he calls the necessary destruction. But then there is an abusive destruction. And amongst the abusive destruction, one big section he is talking about the war. War is, as we know, the opposite of the peace, isn't it? And in the question 742, he's very clear. He starts asking to the spirits, what is the cause that leads humankind to war? And the spirits had a very clear and direct answer as follows. The predominance of the animal nature over the spiritual nature and the satisfaction of their passions. In the state of barbarity, nations only know the right of the strongest. And that is why war is a normal state for them. As humans evolve, war will become less frequent, still, since they will avoid its causes. And when it does become necessary, they will know how to make it more human. So very clearly, they say the war will become lesser and lesser and even disappear from the world. And that is the next question 743. Will war someday disappear from the earth? Answer, yes, when men and women understand justice and practice of God's law. Then all nations will live as brothers and sisters. And in the Spiritist body of knowledge, we have huge arguments in this way. The huge argument is we are not only a physical body. We go out of this materialist, or he told about passion or animal nature, physical body. We have a soul, and this soul survives to what we call death. And we know also the law of cause and effect. We know that all the evil will do will sooner or later come back to us. Like if all the good we do will also sooner or later come back to us. So understanding this, of course, it's a huge incentive for us, encouraging us to be, as Jesus called, meek and peacemakers. Bless the meeks and peacemakers, because this is the way we will evolve, and everything will evolve. If we don't evolve, okay, we can then repeat the lessons, or maybe even go to a world which is less evolved than Earth in order to continue learning. But the aim we should have is exactly, no, let's evolve now. Let's stop with these wars, with all this violence in every form it is, and let's replace it by peace. And this is, I would say, today absolutely mandatory. I think nobody is like war. Look at what's happening in Israel and Palestine. A lot of people are saying, let's stop with that. Even Israeli people, more and more, are now absolutely conscient that this war will not solve the problem. Violence will generate more violence, and then in violence again, in violence again. So we should really stop with these things, because it's a lose-lose. It's not a win-win. It's a lose-lose situation. Everybody will lose with this. So, but unfortunately, a lot of people still have this predominance of the animal nature over the spiritual nature. And the real root cause of the violence and of the war is the selfishness. Okay. Once we will understand this fantastic lesson of Jesus, do unto the other what you would like the other to do unto you, then the war will stop. The earth will be completely changed. There will not be one nation, everybody will be equal. No, not this. We will all be brothers, all different, but living together in peace. And that is really the aim and the objective we have to have, because we know, as per the law of evolution, as per our spiritual nature, that this is sooner or later where we will go to, what we will reach. So let's go to it now. Let's stand up and do all what we can to stop all this violence, and to encourage as much as we can the peace.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Kardec, well, Kardec also born and lived in an upside down world as well. Like with
It
all
was
this.
much worse at that time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. With
A
the
lot of
war, like
misery in Paris.
where the um the movement, the liberté, égalité,
Revolutions. It was
revolutions.
several.
Also, he was in the 61 regiment in probably when Holland, Netherlands invaded Belgium. Not invaded Belgium, was trying to reconquer Belgium. So
Yeah. And it was just after the big army of Napoleon I, and all these
yeah,
hundreds of thousands, millions of people killed and dying, and for what? For nothing.
yeah,
And he escaped. He went back to the spiritual world just a year before another war, which was the 1870 war against Prussians.
yeah.
Nevertheless, he had a very clear vision, and all what he wrote, of course, with the assistance of the spirit, was really crystal clear. I mean, this is really the war and the violence amongst the worst aspects that we still have in this humanity. if we want to progress, we should really start banning these sayings from it.
Yeah. And by the way, his work, his works, his manuscripts, his documentation survived 2 world wars.
Hmm?
Of
Mm.
course, we
Some of it,
lost
not all.
part of it,
Mhm.
but we still have a good materials from him. So, good evening, Marcia Leon. Regards to everyone, to your family. I hope in Brazil is warmer than here. Loviem, good evening, my dear. Thank you for being here with us. And now we go to Miss Gibbons. What's how's the peace
Ask me a
in your
question.
world,
Something
my dear?
simple. Yeah. Um, I just want to say hello to Márcia. Hello, Márcia. Lovely to have you with us. Tudo bem, Márcia? Um abraço. Que ótimo que você está aqui com a gente. Um abração para você. Márcia is a very dear friend of mine. It's nice to have her. So, are you going to ask me a question,
No, I'm just asking
Stevan?
you to give your introduction about what's disturbing your peace in your world.
Well, there are a few things that disturb my peace, but not the whole of my peace. I think the introduction that Charles gave is very important, something to think about, because we are living through very, very troubled times. There is no doubt about it. I think when they said, I'm often reminded of the words of Jesus in Mark, in the Gospels, when he said, the time will come that you have to run to the mountains, don't come back to get anything. And, it would be a time of very sadness and the prophetic sermon, I think it's called. And I think sometimes, I'm reminded of that we have to run to the mountains and hide because, it's terrible. And I think that's part of the transformation of a planet, because personally, I feel that we are now, and for quite some time, for quite a few years, our planet is changing from a world of atonement to a world of regeneration. And of course, things that start coming to an end, everything comes together. And we are living a time that it's challenging for all of us. In Charles Dickens has a book called A Tale of Two Cities. I think I talked about this before because it's one of my favorite books, that he talks about the French Revolution and about this Englishman who went to France. And then there was a Frenchman who came to live in England, running from the revolution. But he started the book saying it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was a time of hope and regeneration, but also was a time of destruction, of wars, and I think we are living through this, because in many ways we are living through the best of times ever. I mean, we have a mobile phone now that has more technology than the spacecraft that took man to the moon. It's just unbelievable to think that we can communicate immediately to the other side of the world as clearly as if someone is talking to you in your own, together. And I mean, even us, the three of us here now, we're talking together, and we are in 3 different countries, in Europe, isn't it? We are so
Mhm.
diverse.
Yeah.
And so there is so much to hope. Medicine has never been so advanced. When you think about COVID that we've been through a couple of years ago, how quickly science was able to join together, actually, was quite a miracle that quite a lot of scientists put aside their their own selfishness, I think, in a way, and came together to have a vaccine, which helped. I know there is a lot of controversy and everything, but I think mostly it was a very good thing. So medicine is so advanced nowadays. You can, medicines are very advanced, the treatments are very advanced, the operations, so many, only a few years ago, if someone had some kind of disease, it was a death certainty. And nowadays, most people survive, because medicine is advanced. So we are living longer and we are living healthier lives. Um, it's quite, you see people, they are in their 80s now, doing things, almost as if they were 40. So there is a lot of wonderful things. And I think we need to hold on to those things as well. Because with everything, as you said in the beginning, Stevan, when you were saying, when we listen to the news, if you listen to the news for 5 minutes, you just want to make a hole in the ground and hide in it because it's such a nightmare.
Yeah.
I personally don't read newspapers anymore, and I don't watch the news. I don't. I only watch programs that talking about cooking.
That's a good
Late,
one.
very good ones, learning how to make pies. But because it can be very depressing. But at the same time, we needed to see what is good, what is positive. And I think thinking about something that I have this thing with Emmanuel, and he said, and Divaldo Franco as well had this campaign of peace and said, the peace of the world, it starts with me. It starts with us. We cannot change the world. We cannot stop the wars. We cannot do anything, but we can make peace with ourselves. And we are, I think most times we are in war with ourselves. We have something, but we want something more. Someone we know have a better car, so I think I like to have that car. And sometimes our pride and our selfishness create a lot of monsters inside, jealousy, envy, all these kind of things that can destroy a peace, can destroy a serenity. I think a lot of understanding sometimes, especially in families, because nowadays as well, we're very challenged by families. The families now are completely different from when I was born. And eh, there are differences, but doesn't matter. We can be families, even with people, with friends of ours and everything. And the peace we have to create inside ourselves, we need to have faith that God knows everything that happens for a purpose. And I think that this is one point to be focused on, because we can be very despondent sometimes when we see certain things. And there is there is a lot of atrocities happening now. And we feel how it's almost part of us die when we see that is still now, 2000 years after the coming of Christ and he leaving his teachings, we're still fighting each other, because we fight ourselves. We are enemies with ourselves. We cannot yet accept who we are. If we see that there are things that are not so good, we can change. We can be a little more caring for ourselves. We can be a more loving to ourselves, a little more tolerant to ourselves. And if we do that to ourselves, we can be with others, and we can create a peace around us with our family, being more understanding, being more, sometimes also, I think there is a lot of, I wouldn't say, it's difficult to find some words sometimes, because there is a lot of softness. I don't know, because when I growing up, we had all the difficulties of being a teenager, especially a teenager in the 60s. But with my mother, what was yes was yes, and what was no was no. If she said no to anything, you could cry, you could do whenever you wanted, and she would not change her mind. And at times, now at times, were very angry at the time, but now looking back, to have had that boundaries so far, it created a kind of life that now we are able to be by ourselves and be well with everyone. Because I think sometimes now parents are very soft on their children. They say yes and they say no, and they, I think it is the kind of difficulties that we're having in families now is something really that needs to be readdressed, and say yes when is yes and no when is no, because then you can give them boundaries and you can give them guidance for the young people, because they are quite I know most of the young people are intelligent, are very sensible, uh, hardworking, but most of the ones that appear in the news sometimes are completely, their heads seem to be completely lost somewhere. So I think this is one of the things as well, the Christian peace, that we have to have faith in God, that God knows. And there are things, I think Charles mentioned it in the beginning when he was talking, that many things have to happen because we needed to grow, we needed to learn. But we need also to have peace with ourselves, to be more conscious, and to have this idea that if I create peace within me, around me, I can control that. And if everyone does a little bit, the world is in peace, because we cannot forget that our thoughts goes up. It has an incredible power. Our thoughts create incredible energies. So if we think peace, if we think love, if we think kindness, even to the worst enemies, if we are able to send prayers, we create a little bit of light around us, and this light can grow because it touches other people, and it's like a circle, isn't it? It goes touch someone and then they touch somebody else, and I think that's within us. We can have faith that things are going to be better, that everything must pass, and we have to learn lessons. And as difficult and as destructive as sometimes things are around us, and we can't help because we cannot do anything about it. We at least we have the certainty in our faith that everything will pass, because everything must pass and will be better in the end. So if we create that environment of love and peace within us, around us, then we don't have to fear anything, because then we are strong on that. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I think it depends. It starts from ourselves.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, of course you did. And it's important what you said and what Charlie said, because when we start to think about peace, and there are, in my view, two kind of peace: the interior peace and the external peace. The interior peace, we can say it is the peace of mind. Oh, I'm okay. And according to Kardec, in order to have a peace of mind, you need to fulfill the law of nature, which is the law of God. If you following this, if you are doing this, no trouble. But constantly we try to deviate by our free will, based on knowledges we have acquired, and later on, with more details, more experience, we sometimes look back and say, "Wow, now I understand why that thing happened. Now I understand why I pick this road instead of that road." So everything is starts with us. And I'd like, and I would say, I think the most famous sentence, it is the sentence when Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you." What? That's my question for you both, Charles and Silvia. What's the peace Jesus is talking about here? How he can give us a peace?
My peace.
Like, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. So can we give peace? Can we say, "Hey, this here's my peace"? How we can put this in practice?
Sylvia? Or...
You you go on, Charles. I'm
Okay.
just
Yeah,
thinking.
good questions. Um, Coming back to what I just said previously, peace and good and evolution is to become in harmony with the natural laws. And what did Jesus do? He taught us the way to stay in harmony with the natural laws. And that is the peace he's giving. And this peace is indestructible. Okay. Jesus, he was in harmony with the natural or the divine laws. He was the medium of God, or whatever we call him, and he came here to help us, to give us the hints, to do the best for us humans. And what did we do in return to him? We did the worst that can be done to someone, isn't it? And even
Mhm.
so, Jesus stayed with this peace. And that is why this peace is indestructible. He was on the cross already saying, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing." This is peace. This is real peace. And I like also this song in Brazil from Nando Cordel. By the way, Nando Cordel is in origin close to Recife, Ipo- Iguaraçu, which is close to where I was living in Brazil. And the song he's singing, which is very famous, starts, "The peace in the world starts inside myself." Huh? So we need to build this peace in us, to refrain from us, as Kardec told it also very clearly, when he said, "Blessed are the meek and the peacemakers." Jesus makes meekness, moderation, docility, affability, and patience the law. This is the peace. Consequently, Jesus was also condemning all the opposite of this: violence, anger, all discourteous expressions towards the others. This is exactly the opposite of peace. So this is the work we have to do on ourselves, to try to become as much as we can meek, moderate, docile, affable, and patient. And when we get this, we are building this peace in ourselves. And the Celtic, the Gaulish people, they said they were always afraid that the sky would collapse on their head. huh? And there is an expression which says, when you are in peace, huh, even if the sky collapses on your head, you still remain in peace. And that is really what peace is.
Yes, yes. My dear Silvia.
Um, yes, I think that's really true, because when you asked about the peace that Jesus said, "My peace I give you," but then he also said, "Love one another as I have loved you." So the if you have peace with yourself, I think he was asking us to give what we have, the best of us, because we are all inheritors because we are children of God, all of us. And sometimes, it's like a family that are fighting each other. Humanity is fighting each other because we are all holding on to things that we don't need anymore. It's not necessary anymore. We have reached a certain point of technology and all sorts of things that are really wonderful, that make life easier, that could be, that could, unfortunately, we still have a lot of poverty, but we have achieved enough knowledge, technological knowledge, that every person on this planet would have a home to live, would be able to have access to medical treatment, school for their children, and to live in peace. But we're still fighting for things that are not going to last. I mean, if you think about in terms of those stupid wars, I mean, what would they achieve? The invasion of the Ukraine and Afghanistan and this nightmare that's happening now in Israel. That how can you even conceive the idea of destroying a whole living people is completely absurd. And what would they achieve? As much power as they will achieve, if they, whoever, in about 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, whatever, most of every single person will die. Even the most powerful leader of countries, the time will come that you have to leave this earth as he came into it. Nothing he will carry from it. And if anything, I think in many ways, someone who, a poor farmer in the middle of India or in Brazil or in America, who worked the fields all their lives, they have a richer life and they will leave nothing. They are able to go and absolutely go. No, there will be no one thinking ill of them, throughout maybe many, many years and many centuries. There'll be people thinking, oh, that was an evil person, and I think that's exactly what we still don't understand, that we're not taking any power that is being created here, especially those that are created with weapons. They have to let go. And I think if we could understand that we take nothing with us, only what we create, only the good that we have created, or the evil as well that we have created, and that we live, God gave us free will to live our lives, to do what we want, but to be responsible for the consequences. And the law of cause and effect is ruthless, is absolutely unforgiving. And whatever we have done, we are going to get it back. We are going to have to answer for everything that we do. So the more good we do, the better is for us. The less we have to carry with us in terms of regret, of pain, because the more goodness that we spread, the better it is for us. Because ultimately, whatever good we do, whatever peace we give, whatever peace we create for ourselves and we give to others, that's what we are going to do. That's what's going to enrich our spirit. Because the body is very temporary. And I think I've read somewhere that we don't even own our own bodies because, God gave us and you take away. And I think if we could think in terms of that, this is a very, very past and it's very brief. Even if you live, 100 years, 160 years, like someone I saw the other day, eventually, 100 years is nothing in terms of eternity. So if we do good, if we have faith, if we do our work, because, work is very, very important. If we create something, if we are able to have, like Emmanuel says, to be at peace because you have fulfilled your duty. That's the greatest peace that we can have. And if we do goodness, good, if we help, if we serve, we are happy because everything we do will come for us anyway. And even if someone was a selfish person, they would do a lot of good because then they can get a lot back. And I think that's it, because the law of cause and effect is the ultimate judge, and is our own conscience that will judge us. And I always I'm reminded of André Luiz words in book Nosso Lar, when he said sometimes it would be better if you had a hell and a punishment. God was punished sending you to hell because it would be somebody else doing it, not yourself, your own conscience. Because, like the spirits teach us, the laws of God is written in our conscience, and we cannot run away from it. Even we might even try for a bit,
Never.
but eventually we will have to answer it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Never. Never.
love
You
one
can.
another. He loved us, and Jesus loved us, and he still does, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I always find interesting that people keep saying, oh, Jesus is going to come back, he's going to come back. And to me, he has never left. He's never left. He's in our hearts. Every time when you reach out to someone for a kind word, a help, a thought of love, a prayer, sending a prayer to someone, he's with you. And he said, I'll be with you to the end of time. He never left us. If we open our hearts for him, he's there. I feel it. Anyway, I feel Jesus very close to me, especially when I'm going to the dentist. I pray, please be with me, help me. And he always does. So,
Yeah.
but it's true, it's not a joke.
Good. Yes. Yes. Uh, and Charles, do we have any other uh, 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 no, not disciples. I'm trying to find a word. This collaborate from the Spiritism, like Camille Flammarion. Uh, do we have any other of them who wrote something about about peace?
Yes. Donc, Camille Flammarion was a strong pacifist. He was really criticizing very heavily without fearing to jeopardize his career as a scientist, astronomer. He was always showing the absurdity of the wars. And at that time, as we talked about right now, there were indeed a lot of wars, a lot of conflicts, and so on. But there is another one who wrote a lot about peace. It's Léon Denis. He has written a book, The Invisible World and the War, during the WW1, which
Yeah.
was also awful conflict, terrible. And he went very deep in the analysis of the war, and showing that most of the wars are happening when it's the people are fighting to get some liberty. The wars, a lot of wars are authority against liberty or liberty against authority. And Ukraine is quite a, how to say, a good example of this. The people from Ukraine, they wanted to get a little bit more liberty, to open a little bit more to Europe or whatever, to get more independence from the former Russia, Soviet Union or Russia. And what is happening? No, I don't want you to be free. You have to stay under my control. So it's pure authoritative and selfish attitude, not willing to let the people become or to get free. And this is one of the French Revolution. You talked about it already. It was quite violent, of course,
Mhm.
and somehow, how could the people, the population of France who was doing the revolution, conquer these liberties, uh, kick out all these kings and queens which were oppressing and asking for taxes and whatever, and all this religious authority with whom they had an alliance, or everything to dominate and to oppress the people. There is hardly another way to go for the liberty than acting a little bit more stronger, let's say so. And this is exactly what Léon Denis was developing, analyzing the deep reasons. Kardec told it's the spirit answered him, this animal predominance of animal nature over spiritual nature. And okay, uh, how can I look? Sometimes I get amazed. Today, look in Europe here, in Europe. You have some regimes, and even in France, I'm telling in France, where some elections where the candidates have quite discussable programs, isn't it? Selfish. We need France for the French. Terrible. A lot of people are still being seduced by this type of talk. These candidates, whether they are from the right or from the left, it's the same. They go and kind of awake or stimulate these bad instincts which are still in the population. And we are here and stay quiet. And how can that be? Next European election will be, I don't know what will come out, but because how to say, the inquiries they are doing right now, the polls are not very favorable. There will be a strong, how to say, people even against Europe that will be voted. Of course, nothing is perfect as usual, but how can we trust in people huh, which are so openly having positions and speak which are authoritative or violent or nostalgic from Nazi or from Mussolini or whatever? It's absolutely amazing, and this is what we have to stand them and to say, hey guys, think a little bit about, stop these things. Do you have to go for the opposite, the meekness, brotherhood, fraternity, think a little bit to everyone, and not close the door or build a wall against, like in between US and Mexico. Geez, incredible things. How can that be? You are building a wall to protect yourself. I see it. You are building a wall to make an open sky prison for you. This is how it should be seen. And of course, liberté, égalité, fraternité, the ideas were very clear from the beginning. The people are fighting from liberty, and liberty you only conquer with fraternity and equality. As long as you have such inequalities, you will have people which will react to it and violently. And when we see what happened about Hamas, of course, what they did is awful. Nobody should do that. It's highly condemnable. But also, on the other hand, we can understand these people which are oppressed, squeezed in a small piece of land. How can this be sustainable? It is not. It is not. And even what they are doing now will not solve the problem. It will pop up again somewhere else. It's not. This is not the way. It's exactly the opposite way we should go. The opposite way by okay, people, let's sit together, let's discuss, let's find a solution. Let's stop these wars, let's stop killing all these people, hostages, and whatever. Because in a war, there are also some conclusion which came and which is now very clear: nobody wins a war anymore. When there is a war somewhere, both parties, everyone is losing. And when I hear people in Europe saying, hey, guys, we have to be careful because the war will come here, we need to build more weapons and things and that, I think, hey, stop all these things. They are also manipulating, putting fear on the people in order to pass. I mean, it's really, okay, let's stop, hold on, let's think about. And no, this is definitively not the way. We have really to awake more the consciences in order to stop with all these things.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, my dear Silvia, what's your final comments?
I just want to say hello to Vanessa and Celoni. Hi, Vanessa, our
Yeah,
dear
so
friend,
authors as
Solomon.
well.
and also to Sol. Hi, Sol. Nice to have you with us today. Well, I think I did say mostly what I thought, and to make Emmanuel words, he says that we need to continue with our work, to have a faith in God, that everything happens for a purpose, and that we need to do our part to do as much good as we can wherever we are, and to have faith in God and to pray. And so we don't get involved in the thoughts, the negative thoughts that seem to be going around now. I agree many things that Charles said, that we need to have peace, but it's impossible to have peace if people want to destroy your very existence. Sometimes we need to stand up, and just for the sake of survival, we need to stand up to to people who want to destroy us, to wipe us from the planet, which no one has the right to, because everyone has the right of life and to have a life in peace. But if you live in threat, I don't think anything justifies certain crimes that were committed and are still being committed. And I think peace, we need to have peace. We need to create a peace ourselves, to create peace in the whole ambient of our planet, because I think all this, a lot of the problems we have in excessive heat in parts of the world, excessive cold in other parts of the world. I mean, the weather has been, I don't remember here in England having such a terrible weather with, I don't know how many storms we had, being flooded, and next day you have tons of snow, and, a lot of people suffering a lot. I think volcanoes and all this is because the earth, it gets really heavy with our negative thoughts, with the weight of all the evil that we create. So I think that's a way as well for the earth to try to clear itself. And if we are conscious of that, we need to clear our thoughts, create thoughts of peace and love and light and understanding and kindness, to create a world of peace around us, and to send out, prayers for peace for our planet. Because this madness that we are living through now is a phase. It will pass, because everything must pass. And then, we begin to have a new world. That peace will be, because everyone will be able to have to live in peace. And we know that, I think, a lot of people now are having their last opportunity of reincarnating on this planet. And I think quite a lot of the problems that we see now is that they don't want to let go of the old ways, but they were going to be somewhere else, reincarnate in another planet, and those who make the grade, as they say, will go forward, and they will have to, learn somewhere else. So I just pray that I don't have to go somewhere else, and I come back and reincarnate here on earth. I'm trying to do my best, because I don't think I like to go in exile again. And and I think that's it, to have peace in our heart, and to send out love and peace to all the planet, really.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, I love this kind of discussions, and is important for us to have conscious about this. I think the word is conscious.
Consciousness.
Yes,
To be conscious of, or to have consciousness, or
both.
to be consciousness.
Yes,
Yes.
consciousness. Yes, you needed to, we needed to answer the question, what you are. Try to find the answer. And when you find this answer, a lot of questions will be answered. Not, again, it's not who you are, what you are.
What we are. But we know who we are, don't we? We are children of God.
Yeah, but
We know that
that's who
much.
I'm saying what you are. Who you are is easy.
Yeah, but I mean, if we really see ourselves as a child of God, imagine the potential that we have to
Yeah.
have peace, to have knowledge, to really appreciate. I mean, like that 2 days, a few days ago, we had the full moon, and it was the most incredible thing. The moon was so big, because sometimes in England the moon seems so big, and it was wonderful. And it was cleared a little bit of the night, because we haven't had any sun or any moon or any stars, anything, for days on end. But that day the sky opened, and we were able to see the full moon. So that was wonderful, and we needed to appreciate the beauty of the world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
value our lives.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay. Let me go here to our announcements. Um, okay. For next week, 7th of February 2024, 9 p.m., we will be here to talk about spirituality and health. Spirituality and health. So good to have you all and joining us. So we keep going with the Camille Flammarion series. Charles did a stunning job last week, wrapping up his 3 parts. See?
There
He
will be a fourth
underestimates
one.
he underestimates Camille Flammarion. Yeah, and so I'm still waiting for the next
The next one will be Caldini.
Caldini.
He
The
will
next
talk
Caldini.
about the death and its mystery before death. And it's a book in 3 volumes. He will talk about the first volume of this book. And it's really the book that Camille Flammarion wrote very few years before he died, and
Mhm.
when he was fully dedicated to Spiritism.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, this is it from us today. I want you to say thank you all. Thank you, Marcelion. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Saul. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Silvia.
Thank you, Stevan.
Thank you, Sherton Moreira. Maria do Carmo Castilho. Adi Soares Henriques. So thank you for watching us. And thank Cardiac Radio for the opportunity to be here,
And
spreading the spiritism in English.
yes, and thank you, everyone. And it was wonderful because there were so many friends today with
Yes,
us,
yes,
which was
exactly.
really lovely. I hope they come
A
back,
lovely, wonderful,
be with us
wonderful.
again soon. So good
We
evening and have a blessed week, everyone.
we wish a lot
Steven,
of peace to all of you.
yes, peace and
Peace
love.
to you and peace to the world.
Yes, yes.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
God bless. Ciao.